Hello and welcome to another Pokemon challenge video on this channel. This is going to be the third in a long series where we do all the Pokemon of Gen 1 in a solo challenge and where we can see if we can beat the game with every Pokemon of Gen 1. As usual, we give ourselves our names and we start our journey. Professor Oak is going to stop us in the grass and take us back to his lab so we can choose our very first Pokemon. For this challenge it is going to be Squirtle. We pick the Squirtle and he's going to pick the Bulbasaur, he being the rival. But he won't let us go without testing our rivalry, so let's get into it. We are just going to spam tackle against the Bulbasaur, hope he does a bit of growls. He seems to do quite a few of them, so that's very good. And we are going to take him down with this final tackle. We get to level 6 and that is our first battle done. And we are ready for the journey. We take the potion from this jolly fellow and we make our way to the Pokemart. Once there, we go into conversation, he gives us a parcel and we are on our way once again. Back at the lab, we give him the parcel. Gary's going to come in as well and we are going to be given our Pokédexes. And with that done, we are on our way. Now that we are in Viridian Forest, we will take on this final trainer here, which is sometimes a struggle for particular Pokemon, but with our Squirtle it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We're just going to use Bubble. Although it shouldn't be too effective, it is going to do the job perfectly. And that is that battle done. On to Brock. Once at Brock, we are ready to challenge him with our water Pokemon. This is going to be an absolute breeze. We are going to demolish him with Bubble, and as you can see it does a ton of damage. Onyx is going to come out, he's going to use a bite, we're going to go for a critical hit Bubble and it's going to be a one-shot. And that is Brock defeated, the Boulder badge secured, and that is going to be the very first badge out of 8. In Mount Moon, we are just going to defeat this mandatory trainer here. And with that done, we are able to choose our fossil, which we are not going to use, but we have to choose one, so I will go for the Dome fossil. Once at Misty, we are ready to challenge her. We are going to save the game just in case. It's water versus water. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it can be. The Starmie can do a lot of damage, so we'll have to see. We did pick up Mega Punch as well in Mount Moon, which we are going to replace with Body Slam later on in the SSN. But for now, that is going to be our physical move, and we're just going to use it and spam it. As you can see, Starmie is doing decent damage against us, but we can just take it down before it takes us down, and that is the second badge secured. We are going to teach Bubble Beam instead of Bubble, and that is going to be our upgraded water move. Next is going to be the second rival fight here in Cerulean City, so let us see how that one goes. He starts out with a Pidgeotto. We are gonna use our Squirtle, of course. A critical hit Bubble Beam is gonna take it down in one hit. Next, Bubble Beam, 2 Bubble Beams is going to take down the Abra. We're going to use Bubble Beam for Rattata as well. It's going to be a one-shot kill. And then 2 Mega Punches for Bulbasaur to take him down. That is the second rival fight done. We're on to the next. Once at Bill's house, we are going to help him turn back into a human because he did an experiment of some sort and he got mixed up with a Pokemon. So once he gets into his chamber, we use the machinery and that's gonna bring out Bill as we know him. He gives us the SSN ticket and that is our next place to go. Before we do that, we are going to fight this mandatory Rocket Grunt and he's gonna give us the TM for Dig, which is gonna be a very useful move throughout the playthrough, especially for Ghost Pokemon, so that is a move that we are definitely gonna pick up. Once defeated, he gives us the TM and we are gonna teach it to Squirtle. We're gonna teach it instead of Tail Whip, in case you're wondering, and that is that. Next up in the SSN, we are going to take Body Slam here and teach it instead of Mega Punch. And now it is time for our third rival fight. This time on the SSN. Let's see what happens. He's gonna come out with a Pidgeotto. We are already at half health from fighting all the trainers on the SSN, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Raticate comes out, we take it down in a single Body Slam. Kadabra comes out, we take it down in a single Body Slam. Then Ivysaur comes out and it's gonna take 2 Body Slams to take it out. and that is the third rival down. We are gonna go to the captain and rub his back in order to get the HM for cut, which we are going to need to progress through the game, and we're gonna teach it to our Paris. As we get out of the SSN, it's going to sail away. We say our last goodbyes, and we are already quite a bit into the playthrough, so that's good. It's going pretty fast, so that's nice. Next up is going to be Lieutenant Surge, the third gym. We are going to save in case he demolishes us, but I suspect it should be pretty smooth. We have Dig, and that is going to be super effective against this electric Pokemon. As you can see, it takes down the Voltorb in a single hit, takes down the Pikachu in a single hit, and finally his Raichu comes out. We use Dig once again. We take massive damage from the Thunderbolt, but we can take him down in a single Dig critical hit, and that secures our third badge. Next up is the Hiker in the Dark Cave. As you can see, Bubble Beam and just our water Pokemon in general does tremendous work of his team and takes them all down. Next up, in Celadon City, we are going to go to Erica and get that badge and that gym out of the way. We are going to challenge her. We are in the disadvantage, but we did pick up Ice Beam, which is going to be super effective against grass Pokemon. Victreebel does put us to sleep and does a high damage, super effective Razor Leaf, and it's gonna take us out in the first attempt. Once back, we're gonna challenge her again and hopefully do better this time. We need some RNG, some luck, but that should be alright. We're gonna go for Ice Beam once again. The Sleep Powder misses and we can take it out. Tangela comes out and a single Ice Beam takes it down. Finally, a Vileplume comes out, and Ice Beam is gonna 2-hit KO it, and that is the fourth badge in the pocket. Next up is gonna be the Rocket Hideout, and the Giovanni fight at the end of it. So we are going to save the game just in case, and we are going to challenge him. First up is Onyx, which is gonna be no match for our Bubble Beam. It's super effective and takes him down in a single hit. The same goes for Rhyhorn. Next up is Kangaskhan. We are going to use Ice Beam here, and it is going to be a 2-hit KO. And that is Giovanni done. He drops us the Sylph Scope, which we can use in the Pokemon Tower, and that is our next destination. Once in the Pokemon Tower, we get to challenge rival number 4. He comes out with a Pidgeotto. We are gonna use Body Slam against it, take it down in a single critical hit. Next up is Gyarados. Ice Beam is going to be super effective and a critical hit as well, taking it down in a single hit. Growlithe is going to go down in a single Bubble Beam. Kadabra is going to go down in a single Body Slam critical hit. We level up to level 46, and finally Ivysaur comes out and Ice Beam is going to finish it off. That is our fourth rival defeated, and we are ready to complete the Pokemon Tower, which I will not show because it is a bit straightforward and boring. Next up, south of Lavender Town, we find the Snorlax blocking our path. We now have the Poke Flute, so we can try and kill it for some experience points. Ice Beam does a good damage against it, and we level up because of it, and Snorlax is gonna return to the mountains. In the Safari Zone, we are gonna reach the secret house and get the HM for Surf, which we are gonna teach to our Squirtle. We are gonna learn it again instead of Bubble Beam, excuse me. Next up is Koga. So, challenging the true Ninja Master, we are gonna try and make quick work of him. First is his coughing. We are gonna go for Body Slam. It's gonna take 2 to take him out. Next up is Muck. We are gonna go for an Ice Beam. It's going to be a 3-hit KO, so we go for Body Slam instead, which does the same amount of damage. He disables our Body Slam and we go for Ice Beam, taking him down. Finally is Coughing. We do an Ice Beam. He goes for a Smoke Screen. We miss because of it. We go for a second Ice Beam. And then finally is Wheezing. We are going to go for Surf. It does decent damage. It's going to be a 2-hit KO. We miss because of that Smoke Screen earlier. We are poisoned, he self-destructs, and that is gonna give us our victory. We get the Soul Badge, and that is the 5th gym done. Once in Silphco building, or Rocket Hideout number 2, we are going to fight rival number 5. He should be pretty strong at this point, so let's see how that goes. First is his Pidgeot, we go for Ice Beam, which is going to be super effective. Next up is his Gyarados. We go for Ice Beam, which is super effective, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. So we're trying to go for Body Slam instead, and that is going to finish him off in 2 more Body Slams. Next up is Growlithe. We are going to go for Surf, and that is going to take him down in a single hit. And finally, it's Alakazam. Not finally, the second to last Alakazam is going to go down to a single Body Slam, and finally Venusaur comes out, and a single critical hit Ice Beam is going to take him down. That is the 5th rival defeated, and we are ready for Giovanni, who is just around the corner. We are gonna pick up the Lapras from this guy here and teach it Strength, which we will need in Victory Road, and we move on to Giovanni. Once at Giovanni, we are gonna save the game, and we are going to challenge him for the second to last time. He comes out with a Nidorino. We are gonna go for Dig. Takes him down in a single hit. It is super effective. Next up is Kangaskhan. We are going to go for Dig once again. It's going to be a 2-hit KO. Next up is Rhyhorn. We are going to use Surf against it, which is going to be super effective and take it down in a single hit. And then Nidoqueen comes out, which is going to be super effective Ice Beam critical hit. And that is Giovanni defeated. We are quickly going to fight the fighting gym next to Sabrina's gym, just to get some extra experience points, which we will need for the Elite Four. So we're gonna defeat all of these and not take our reward, as we don't need it in a single Pokemon challenge. Once at Sabrina's gym, we are going to challenge her and hopefully not get too much of a counterattack. Mr. Mime is gonna go down in 2 Body Slams. Next up is Venomoth. We are gonna use Body Slam. He stuns us and goes first, does Psybeam, does decent damage, but we take it out. And then finally Alakazam comes out, and we are gonna go for Dig, but we are paralyzed, so that is gonna hold us back a few turns. We are gonna go for Dig eventually, and then switch into Body Slam. He's gonna go for Recover. He then does Psywave, does decent amount of damage, but we take it down with the final Body Slam, and that is the 6th gym defeated. We get a Marsh badge and TM46, which we will not use, but we're ready to move on. Next is Blaine on Cinnabar Island. We're going to challenge him, as he only has fire Pokemon and we have a water type. This should be pretty easy. We go for Surf against the Growlithe and take it down in a single hit. Next is Ponyta, and it's gonna go down in a single hit as well. Next is Rapidash. We go for Surf once again, take it down in a single hit. And then Arcanine comes out, and it is going to go down in a single hit from Surf as well. And that is Blaine securing our 7th badge. Next is going to be the 8th and final gym battle. This is going to be Giovanni number 3. Once again, he challenges us, or we challenge him, but we are going to absolutely destroy him. Rhyhorn comes out, we go for Surf, taking it down in a single hit. Next up is Dugtrio. We are going to go for Surf once again, taking it down in a single hit. Next up is Nidoqueen. We are going to switch to Ice Beam, taking it down in almost a single hit, finishing it off with a second Ice Beam. And finally is Nidoking. We are going to go for Ice Beam once again, taking it down in a single hit. And then Rhydon comes out. We go for Surf and take it down in a single hit. We are now level 61 and we have all 8 badges. We only have 6 more battles to go before it is the end of the run. Next up is going to be our 6th rival fight. So let us begin. He comes out with a Pidgeot. We are going to go for Ice Beam, which is going to be super effective. Takes it down in 1 hit almost, but we do get the freeze. So we get the free victory on the Pidgeot. Next up is Rhyhorn. We are going to go for Surf, taking it down in a single hit. Next up is Gyarados. We are going to go for Ice Beam, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. He gets us with Dragon Rage in return. We freeze him once again, and that gets us the free win against Gyarados. Next up is Growlithe. We are going to go for Surf. It is going to be super effective. and it's gonna take him down in a single hit. And then Alakazam comes out. We are gonna go for a body slam, but he outspeeds us, does decent damage, but we paralyze him. That's why we go first and outspeed him in the next turn. And finally it's gonna be Venusaur, which we will use Ice Beam against and take it down in a single, in 2 Ice Beams, excuse me. That is the final rival fight in the open world done. 5 more fights to go. Our first attempt, we are gonna try the League and the Elite Four just as we enter. So first up is Lorelei with a Dugong. We are gonna go for Body Slam. We paralyze it, and a few more Body Slams should take it down, but he starts using Super Potions, which really slows down the process and is burning through our PP. We take it down eventually. We are now level 63. Cloyster comes out, which has massive defenses, so that is going to be an absolute struggle to get through. As you can see, Dig barely does any damage, Ice Beam barely does any damage, Body Slam barely does any damage. But we are going to continue on with Body Slam. He confuses us, but we keep on hitting him with Body Slam. We only have a few PP left, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. We have to switch into another move and eventually take it down with Ice Beam. Next up is Slowbro. We're no longer confused. We go for an Ice Beam, which does not too much damage. He goes for Withdrawal. We go for Dig, which does absolutely no damage at this point. She uses potions on her Pokemon, which really burns through our PP. We are gonna go for Surf at this point, which also does very little damage. And I think this is not going to end very well. It is looking rather bleak. Next up is Jinx. We are gonna go for Surf, which does decent damage. Finally, a Pokemon which we can damage. But she goes for the potion once again, but we do take it out. Finally, it's gonna be the Lapras, which is gonna take us out very soon. She confuses us and we faint, having to reset, and I'll come back when I've leveled up a bit. Once leveled up a bit, we are going to try this one more time. First up is Lorelei with the Dugong. We are now level 76, at which point it's starting to become a bit consistent. We are going to go for Body Slams against Dugong, which does decent damage at this point. And Dugong goes down. Next up is Cloyster. We are going to use Surf, which does surprising amount of damage. 3 Surfs is what it's going to take it down. Next up is Slowbro. We are gonna go for Surf once again, but we hit ourselves in confusion. We're no longer confused, we go for Surf, which also does decent damage. But as he starts using Amnesia and growling us, we are gonna do less and less damage, which is a real problem, not only for the Slowbro, but for the Lapras as well, which is gonna come at the end of the fight. We go back and forth. She uses potions, I whittle down some HP, she uses potions. And finally, we take down the Slowbro with a Body Slam. Jinx is gonna go down in what looks to be 3 Body Slams, but we go for a Body Slam and a Dig. Next up is Lapras. We have very little PP left, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. We don't have a power-up move like we did with Charmander, who had Sword Stance, which really let us power through. Squirtle cannot learn Sword Stance, so that is a bit of a problem. But we do manage to take out the Lapras finally, and Lorelei is defeated. On to Bruno. Once at Bruno, we are going to challenge him, and he should be very easy with his rock and fighting type Pokemon. Onyx we take down in a single Surf. Hitmonchan we take down in a single Ice Beam. Hitmonlee we're gonna take down in a single Ice Beam. The second Onyx we're gonna take down in a single Surf. Machamp we are gonna take down in about 2 Digs. We get the critical hit, and that is Bruno done. On to Agatha. She comes out with a Gengar. We are going to use Dig. It's going to be super effective and take it down in a single hit. Next is Golbat. An Ice Beam is going to be super effective, taking it down in a single hit. Next up is Haunter. We are going to Dig once again, taking it down in a single hit. Next is Arbok. We're going to use some Body Slams so we can save some PP for the other moves. And it's going to go down in 2 Body Slams. Then Gengar comes out, which outspeeds us. And we are going to go for Dig and take it down in a single hit. Agatha is defeated. We're on to Lance. Lance starts his fight with a Gyarados. we are gonna go for Surf, which was a pretty bad decision. It does very little damage. We're gonna go and switch into Ice Beam, which only does a little bit more damage, and take it down with a final Body Slam. Next up is Dragonair. It's gonna go down in a single Ice Beam. The next Dragonair is gonna be the same story. Then Aerodactyl comes out. We're gonna use Surf against it, taking it down in a single hit. And then finally Dragonite comes out and it's gonna go down in a single Ice Beam. That is Lance defeated. We have only one more fight to go in order to beat the challenge. Once at the rival, he's going to challenge us and we are gonna take on this final challenge. Gary sends out Pidgeot. We are gonna go for an Ice Beam, which is gonna take it down in a single hit. Next up is Alakazam. He outspeeds us, which is scary. He does Side Beam. And we are gonna take it down in about 2 Body Slams. Next up is gonna be Rhydon. We are gonna use Surf. It's gonna take him down in a single hit. This is looking good. Next up is Gyarados. We are gonna go for Ice Beam. It's gonna take about 3 Ice Beams by the looks of it. He goes for Hyper Beam. We are getting very low on HP, but we take it down. And then Arcanine comes out. We are gonna use Surf, taking it down in a single hit. And then finally, the final Pokemon, Venusaur. We almost take it down with a single Ice Beam, but his Mega Drain takes us out. Ouch. That is very painful. So, once back at Bruno, it's gonna be the same story. Lorelei was the same story. Bruno is gonna be the same story. We use Ice Beam against his Hitmonlee and Surf against his Onyx. That is gonna be Bruno, super fast, super clean. It's going to be an exact copy of what happened last time, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Once Bruno is defeated, we move on to Agatha. Agatha is going to be the exact same story as well. We use Dig against the Gengar. It's going to take it out in a single hit. We're going to use Ice Beam against the Golbat, which is going to take it down in a single hit. We are going to use Dig against the Haunter. It's going to take it down in a single hit. This is getting very repetitive, but you get the idea. So let's fast forward to Lance. Once at Lance, he starts out with a Gyarados. We are gonna go for Ice Beam. It's gonna take about 3 of them. He's gonna use Dragon Rage, which does very little damage, and we take him down. Next up is Dragonair. We're gonna go for Ice Beam once again. Second Dragonair, the same story. Then Aerodactyl comes out. We are gonna go for Surf. He goes for a Hyper Beam, which does a lot of damage, but we're able to tank it, and Aerodactyl goes down. Next up is Dragonite, and he goes down in a single Ice Beam. And that is Lance defeated. Once at our rival, once again, we are gonna hopefully get a bit more luck, maybe. So Pidgeot comes out first. We go for Ice Beam, which is gonna be super effective and almost take it down a single hit. Body Slam is gonna finish it off. Next up is Alakazam. We are gonna go for Body Slam, paralyzing it and moving first the next turn. Rhydon comes out, we go for Surf, taking it down in a single hit. We level to level 79, and then Gyarados comes out. We are gonna go for Surf, which does very little damage, but we are running out of PP here, so we have to make do with what we got. And then a few Body Slams takes him down. We're gonna use our second to last PP for Surf on Arcanine, taking it down in a single hit. And then we are gonna go for Venusaur. We will use a Dig. We miss the Mega Drain. He takes in Sunlight, which is perfect, and we finish it off with a Body Slam. And that is the challenge completed. So, can you beat Pokemon Red and Blue with a Squirtle? Yes, you can. You need to be about level 75 to 80, but it is very doable. This is a bit of a longer video. I am gonna edit it down and hopefully try to cut it down as much as I can, but I did hope you enjoyed. Here in the Hall of Fame we have our Squirtle and ourselves with a playtime of 8 hours and 54 minutes. And that is gonna be the end screen. So, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.